Hi there, book friends. Welcome to the Book Collector. Today I'm going to do something a little different. I am not the best YouTuber, as you have figured out. I've been tagged in some other booktubers videos, and I really wasn't aware. So I'm going to start with the first one. And it's a kind of fun thing. I enjoyed. This is Michelle from Literary Me, who tagged me back in March, and I was just going through some things on the back end of YouTube, and I was like, oh, what are these? So I'll be going through them. I won't do it, every video, but it'll be fun. So these are some interesting questions about reading. I think this list was created by Isaiah at that Reading Guy 28. And I appreciate Michelle she's at Literary Me, for tagging me. Who knew? Gosh, she's got a lot more subscribers as do all these people, and I'm like, here I am. So anyway, this will be fun, and it'll just be a fun video. I liked these questions, and it's an interesting thought. Here's the first question. What is your definition of book snobbery? Book snobbery. So I think snobbery in general is when you esteem yourself so highly that you think you are too good for something or you're better than something. So book snobbery would be if someone esteems themselves or thinks so highly of themselves that they think they're too good to read a type of book. So that would be my definition. And I do think in some of these questions, it does depend on how you define the terms. So I was reading them to my daughter, and I was like, I think I'm becoming a little more Gen Z than Boomer Gen X. So, okay, that's how I would define it. Is there a genre or type of book you would never consider reading? Such as, would you ever read a romance? Or if you regularly read romance, would you ever try a science fiction novel? So, great question. And I have said many times, I don't read romance, I don't read science fiction, I don't read fantasy. Does that make me a snob? And I would argue it does not, because I don't think I'm better because I don't read those. I just don't enjoy those. And so I read books for my own pleasure and enjoyment. I do not think less of people. I know right now there's a huge thing with young people and fantasy. Well, fantastic. They're reading. I just want people to read. Read, 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 read. So I wouldn't say never. So I kind of think of it like movies, in that I typically do not like action movies. I don't watch horror movies because they scare me. And I really don't like science fiction. I don't enjoy it. Now, having said that, if the movie is telling a good story that happens to be in the genre of action or science fiction, then yeah, I like a good story. Look, I got all these I love Harry Potter. It's fantasy, but they're excellently told stories. So I never say never, but it would probably be a hard push to get me to go there. Just because I think it would be hard wading through all the mediocrity or the stuff that appeals. And I'm not saying that everything that appeals to people is mediocre, but for me, I don't like it. So it would be a high bar to reach compared to what's out there. For the people who love it, they love it. That's their jam. Sort of like historical fiction is. I love historical fiction as long as it's not World War II. I'm a little burnt out on that. Anyway, question number 3. Does erotica count as literature? I don't know. It depends on how you define literature. Are you thinking of it as the written word that is meant to elevate mankind? Is that what literature is, or is it just written? So, depending on how you define the word literature, is how I would answer that question. Is it better to read classic books than popular bestsellers? Better. Is it better? No. Is it better to read classic books than popular books? No, I think like anything else, sometimes I want a documentary when I watch TV. Sometimes I want Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I want to get lost in the empty, dumb drama, or do I want to learn something? It just depends. So, better, I would take that word out, you know. Have you ever bragged about reading a classic in order to sound smart? So, to me, this is two questions. Have you ever bragged about reading a classic? Question number one. Question number two, was your motivation because you wanted to sound smart? So I could take both of those questions separately. Have I ever, again, bragged about? This is why I should have gone into law, because I'm dissecting. Bragged about. I have talked about reading classics. I've done it here on this channel. I recently read Uncle Tom's Cabin. I didn't brag about it. I wanted to share the experience I had, because most people's reaction is, I don't want to read that. That sounds hard. And while there was a little bit of a hard thing to get over initially, it settled in, and it wasn't a difficult read after that. And it was a great read. So did I share that because I wanted to sound smart? No, it was my book club book. And I, like I do here, I share all the books that I'm reading. So sometimes it's a classic, and who knows, maybe one of these popular books will become a classic in time. You never know. So, no, I don't. I just talk about books I like because I like them. That's all. Maybe somebody else might have thought that about me. I don't know, but I can't control what others are thinking about me and my reading tastes. So, question number 6. Here's a two question or two. Do audiobooks count as reading? Yes, I would say in the big picture, absolutely. And that, I'm qualifying that, if I want to be stickler as in terms of a lawyerly drilling down on the language, is it reading? No, it's not. You're listening. However, I go back to when my kids were little. There is a book called The Read Aloud Handbook. And, there's studies that show that the only way to improve your child's IQ is to read to them. So that art of listening helps them acquire language. And I don't think that stops as they begin to speak. It expands vocabulary, expands. So I think the art of listening is very much tied into reading. And are they learning the story that the author intended? They are. It is via somebody else's voice and not in your own head. So I do think you kind of miss some of the richness, but you're still creating that world based on words like you would if you were reading. So to me, yes, I would say yes. But if I were in the court of law, I would drill down and define it. So then the follow-up question is, what about comic books and graphic novels? Absolutely. Just because there's pictures, there's still words, and you're reading. So, yep, I'm all about that. Read. Question number 7. Have you ever looked down at someone for reading a popular fluff book? So, my friends, the answer to this is yeah, I have. And I'm going to tell you, I learned a lesson. This was a long time ago. I was on a message board with a bunch of scrapbookers. Hey, Scrapshare people. And it was very fun. And we we were all raising our kids, and so it was our outlet when we were home with kids. And there was a trend on this message board of reading, uh, oh, what were those vampire books, the Stephanie Meyer ones, that series. I can't think of the name right now. Twilight. So all of those books. And I remember going, oh, I can't believe you're reading them. And then one of my good friends, who became my friend in real life after only knowing her on the internet, she said, oh, here, you should try it. And I could not put it down. So do I judge anyone anymore? I don't. I may still choose not to read something, but I ripped through all of those books and went to the movies, which are bad. Don't go to the movies. But the books were so thoroughly entertaining at a time when I needed something easy and light and fun and engaging. And they're all of those things. So yes, I have, but I don't anymore because I was right there with them reading all of those Twilight books. And for the record, I was Team Edward. You know if you know. Okay, so, and then it on the end of this question, it says, a book with some substance to it, for example, self-help or celebrity memoir. I don't look down on anybody for self-help or celebrity memoir because, again, I watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills sometimes, and a celebrity memoir. I read Seven Husbands of whatever her name was, Hugo something. I can't remember the name. It was fun. It was a fun read. It was like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It was very fun. So no, read the memoir. I've got I just did a book haul video where it's going to post soon, where I've got a self-help and no looking down on anybody for that, whatever they're reading. Question number 8. Have you been the recipient of someone else's snobbery? Maybe. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to all that stuff. I'm interested. Did you like the book? I may have missed the subtext of I'm looking down on you because you haven't read it. I don't know. Maybe. But okay. Would you ever be friends with a snob? Absolutely. I can learn something from everybody. And if that's one of their quirks, okay. I can learn what not to do. I can kind of sit back and enjoy whatever it is. I don't know. I just think people and their quirks sometimes are not, and I'm not saying to ever demean somebody. And sometimes snobbery can just be like, I only wear designer clothes. Oh, okay. That doesn't make me feel some sort of way about buying my t-shirts with no names. Like, it doesn't make me feel bad about myself. Now, if it's meant to and is directed to make somebody feel badly, I wouldn't want to be friends with that. But again, so how do you define snob? I think there is a scale, but in general, if it's just a quirky thing about them, not designed to hurt others, then yeah, character. Number 10, are people who don't read less sophisticated than people who do? I'm becoming a broken record, but it depends on how you're defining sophisticated. Now, I think there are a couple ways to define sophisticated. You could say it's somebody who has a lot of experience in the world and with fashion and culture and reading, perhaps. Or it can mean something complex, like, oh, my new sewing machine is too sophisticated for me to tinker with myself. I need to take it to somebody who has this expertise. So, no. Basically, I'm going to say, if you're talking about the worldly one, then yeah, people who don't read would be by definition less sophisticated than people who do. But if we're just talking about complex, no, people can have all sorts of knowledge and, interesting things going on in their life without being readers. But do I think they could benefit from it? I sure do. So I always say, if you don't like actually reading a physical book or on the digital thing, get an audiobook. That's a great way to consume books. I don't know. I think everybody's lives would be better with books. So the last question, number 11, measure yourself. Based on your answers to the previous 10 questions, would you qualify as a book snob? Maybe to somebody. I don't think I am. I read kids' books. I'd read a YA book. I read lots of stuff. I like picture books. But I do, and I want to also grow and expand. So will I try classics? I will, but that doesn't make me better. I'm not likely to ever read Dune. My brother loved it. Not my cup of tea. So, if anything, I think I'm kind of less because I won't enter in those genres. So not snobby about it. I don't think I'm better. I almost look at it as a character flaw of my own that I'm not more open to, but I just flat out don't enjoy most of them. So life's too short, as my friend Diane says, life is too short to read bad books. And I don't mean that they're bad to everybody, but for whatever reason, I don't enjoy them. So I can put them down and find a book that I do enjoy. So now my task is to tag other people. I need to make some friends in BookTube world. I don't have. I'm going to have to just kind of go to the people that I follow that they don't know that I follow them or watch their videos. So if you are one of those people, just take pity on my wee small little channel, my wee tiny speck in the BookTube world, and maybe play along. I don't know. Anyway, if you're still watching, bravo. These were great questions to think about. That's the reason I really wanted to do it once I found it. And Michelle, I apologize for it taking me so many months to realize that I was tagged. I just found that thing. I did YouTube before it was monetized, and there were so many people on it. I made cards, handcrafted cards. I made tutorials. That channel is still up. I have one more subscribers still on that channel, even though I haven't added anything in, I don't know, 10, 15 years. People still watch the tutorials. So it's crazy. So I'm trying to grow this one. I guess I'm just not as interesting than watching my hands make cards. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, keep reading. Thanks for watching.